Good morning. Hey, welcome to part 3 in our series titled Blessed. Now, I'll be honest with you. When God laid this series on me, gave me this devotional to go through, I did not expect it to be over Old Covenant versus a New Covenant, or the difference between and how we shift in scriptures. But man, it's been good. I have pulled some stuff from this that I needed to hear this week, so that's why God gave it to me. I hope you're getting it too. But today we're going to kind of build on similar to what we talked about yesterday, which was, our relationship with God, which was, how we're blessed because Christ came for us. We couldn't fulfill it. The problem was us. We couldn't fulfill the old covenant, so Christ came and fulfilled it for us. Because of that, we're blessed. Today we're going to kind of build on that a little bit. We're going to add to it. And what I mean by that is this. Have you ever felt like you're always walking or living life in someone else's shadow? Like nothing you do is as good as what they did. Nothing they did it better. They did it first. You're just living in their shadows. You're just operating in their shadows, and you can do this better, and you can do that better, but you don't know how. You don't know how to put the pieces together. Do you ever stop and think that might be how the priest of the old covenant felt? Listen, in Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5, the scriptures say this. They said they, meaning the priests of the old covenant, they serve in a system of worship that is only a copy, a shadow of the real one in heaven. Stop and think about this for a minute. When you take a piece of paper, right, and you put it on a copy machine, and it copies it and it spits out another piece of paper, that copy is usually blurry, it's usually a little digital, it's not as clear and clean and crisp as the original. Okay? Now I say that to use as an analogy for you to think about this. The method of worship that they used, the rest of verse 5 there, Hebrews 8 verse 5 says this. It says, Moses was getting ready to build the tabernacle. God gave him this warning. Be sure that you make everything according to the pattern I have shown you here on the mountain. Okay, this was a copy of worship that was from heaven. They took the throne from heaven, made a copy and rebuilt it on earth. Do you think it was as clean and crisp and pure as the one in heaven? No, it wasn't. Why? Because we were the ink. Humans were, I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. We were the ink, right? And we blurred and we smudged and we smeared and we made it not ugly, but not as clean and crisp as it should be. It was a shadow. The worship in the old covenant was living in the shadow of the one in heaven. So it wasn't as good. Okay, we got that part down. Now, I'm going to use another analogy that has to do with shadows. Have you ever seen kids, little kids, toddlers, try to walk in the shadow of their parents when they're walking out in the sun, and the kid's trying to keep up, and dad's in a hurry or whatever, and he walks faster, and the kid's like, hey, slow down, I gotta stay in your shadow, right? You ever seen that? I've seen it. It's hilarious. And sometimes the dads are just like, hey, I ain't got time, I gotta get to work, or I gotta take care of this, we'll do that later. But then there's sometimes when the dad says, here, and he picks the kid up and he puts him on his shoulders, right? And the kid's just like, yeah, I'm on dad's shoulders. Woo! He's on the top of the world. Why? Because he went from being in dad's shadow to being on dad's shoulders. See where I'm going with this? Follow along in verse 6. Hebrews 8 verse 6 says this. Now Jesus, our high priest, has given a ministry that is far superior to the old priesthood. For he is the one who mediates for us a far better covenant with God, based on better performance, based on better promises. I know we're covering this in depth, but I want you to get it. When Jesus came, okay, when Jesus came and fulfilled the old covenant, okay, Jesus took humans, he took us out of the shadow and put us on his shoulders. He lifted us up into the light. Oh, you get that? Jesus lifted us up into the light on his shoulders. And it's far better to be on top of the world than it is to be hiding behind the mountain in the shadows, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, blessed. How are we blessed? We are blessed because, as I said yesterday, we serve Jesus Christ, who came to fulfill the old covenant and give us the new covenant of grace, a relationship directly with God because of our faith in Jesus Christ. And that's far superior than the old covenant of fulfilling laws and living in obedience and fear of consequences of not being obedient. Far better. So, my daily drink for you today is this. Instead of living in the shadows, instead of living life trying to please God, we need to step out into the light and shine with a direct relationship with Jesus Christ. Step out of the shadows. Quit living in the shadows of obedience. Quit living in the shadows of trying to please God. Step out into the light. Feel his direct love and mercy on you. And live with the knowledge of a relationship with God. That's my daily drink for today. Y'all be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow.